People living in a troubled apartment complex in Aurora say they're less afraid of a Venezuelan gang than they are of vigilante harassment whipped up by a national media frenzy.
We're here today to set the story straight.
There is no evidence to support the far-right claims that the Hells Angels are coming to Colorado to fight the Venezuelan gang. That didn't stop a state legislator from sharing the claim. Congresswoman Boebert debates her long-shot opponent and the truth in some of her answers. And at a bakery called Reunion, a Coloradan welcomes apprentices from his home country, offering job training and a chance at a fresh start. That's tonight on Next. There are Coloradans at the center of a national media frenzy right now, and they're worried it's putting them in danger. Conservative media and politicians say their apartment building's been taken over by a Venezuelan gang. Aurora police say that's not true, and the people living there gathered today to say their biggest challenge is their landlord. That area of northwest Aurora has long struggled with crime and poverty. Today, our Evan Krugel went to the building where neighbors say the political fury has added a new problem for folks who have plenty of them already.
Inside the hallways at 1268 Dallas Street, music bounces off the walls.
Una salsa.
It's why Carlos Ordoscoidi chose to live here.
Tengo tres. Dos niños y una niña.
When he left his 3 kids in Venezuela to try and provide for them in America.
Mucha gente buena, aquí vivimos padres trabajadores, aquí vinimos a trabajar, entonces no es justo que nuestros derechos se vean vulnerados por una minoría.
Carlos's home is now in the spotlight after this video surfaced last week showing people carrying guns inside. Conservative media and politicians claimed Venezuelan gangs had taken over the complex.
We've got Venezuelan gang members who have gone into an apartment complex, and now they're intimidating the tenants there to pay them the rent and probably extort other things from them.
The city's interim police chief says gangs are not taking rent.
El alcalde está fuera de órbita.
Carlos says he doesn't know the people in the video and says reports the buildings are overrun with gangs are greatly exaggerated.
Si lo que pasó en ese video, vuelvo y repito, lo que está ahorita, porque fue aquí, no hay que negarlo, no se sabe en realidad el motivo por qué esas personas llegaron ahí. Pero yo no he visto que estén invadiendo, yo no he visto que estén cobrando renta, en realidad yo no lo he visto.
He says all the attention has put his community in danger, with calls on social media for people to come here and confront the so-called gang members.
Venezuelan gangs, we're here to chase you off. This is our communities.
Ahorita sí siento un poco de temor por lo que se está viendo, por lo que se está creando, la xenofobia hacia nosotros, y me da muchísimo miedo salir a la calle ya después de las 7, 8 de la noche, porque uno no sabe qué carro, qué loco pase por ahí y nos quiera hacer daño. O sea, se trata de nuestra reputación. Y yo me siento mal porque nos generalizan a todos y no debería ser así.
Now, Mayor Kaufman did visit the apartment complex yesterday. Carlos says he tried to talk to the mayor, but he wouldn't respond. An Aurora spokesperson tells us the mayor did speak with people both in English and Spanish. Kyle, it's worth mentioning the people who live there say these apartments are extremely run down and in really bad shape. They believe the landlord is simply using this gang theory as an excuse to not pick up the property.
Which is what Mayor Kaufman was saying at one time as well. His messaging sometimes changes by the hour. He'll come on this program, say that the issues are isolated, a lot of this is hysteria. He'll then go on Fox News and he'll say something different. Everybody agrees, right? The gang is present. There's been violence in that neighborhood long before this latest gang was there, and these buildings are in really bad shape.
Absolutely hard to disagree with any of that after seeing it firsthand today. And that's what's really troubling for a lot of these folks is they simply don't know who to listen to. When you're hearing one thing one day, one thing the next, it's hard to know, is that happening in my unit and I'm just not seeing it, or is it not happening at all?
We'll stay on it. Evan Krugel, thank you so much.
You bet.
So over the weekend, anonymous far-right social media accounts were claiming that the Hells Angels Outlaw Motorcycle Club was coming to Colorado to fight Venezuelan gang members. Only issue, there is no evidence that that is true. The video used as evidence either did not show the Hells Angels or were taken long ago. One video shows motorcyclists at Sturgis. Another is video out of Brazil from July. There's a third video that shows a convoy of motorcycles flanked by a police escort, which would be pretty off-brand for the Hells Angels. But that didn't stop the claims from getting millions upon millions of views after they were shared by conservative influencers and even some elected officials, like Colorado Republican State Rep Ryan Armagost. Congresswoman Lauren Boebert is again calling for the Environmental Protection Agency to be abolished. The Republican Congresswoman from Colorado debated her Democratic opponent, Trisha Calvarese, today for the first and maybe only time in their race for the safest Republican seat in our congressional delegation. Boebert mixed in red meat messages like abolish the EPA with claims that she is bipartisan.
The legislation that I've introduced has largely been bipartisan. The bills that I have passed through the House and even signed into law, my Pueblo Jobs Act, have been bipartisan.
Boebert's claim that she has had bills, as in plural, signed into law is not true. She has had one, the Pueblo Jobs Act. Her claim that that bill was bipartisan is pretty misleading. It did not have a Democratic co-sponsor in the House before the time that it got rolled into a larger bill that did end up with Democratic support. So Trisha Calvarese, she's a first-time candidate and a serious long shot in that heavily Republican district that goes from Douglas County out onto the Eastern Plains. She criticized Boebert in their debate today for voting against the PACT Act, extending medical coverage for veterans exposed to toxins during war.
If you're going to take care of folks, like what about our veterans, Lauren? You voted against care for veterans exposed to cancer-causing toxins and burn pits during war.
When it comes to our veterans, I have absolutely put them first. In my first year, we were in the minority, and unfortunately not all the legislation was great.
Boebert and Calvarese really got into it about whether Boebert knows the 4th Congressional District. She, of course, moved into that safe Republican seat after nearly losing her pretty safe Republican seat that she now holds on the Western Slope. That debate in Parker was moderated by our partners at Colorado Politics, who provided that video. Voters in our state will decide in November whether to allocate hundreds of millions of dollars for police officer training and support. It's a ballot initiative from a conservative group. The initiative, known as Back the Blue, would require the state put $350 million of taxpayer money into a newly created Peace Officer Training and Support Fund with the state's Department of Public Safety. It would also create a $1 million death benefit for the families of officers killed in the line of duty. This idea comes from the conservative group Advance Colorado, which is also behind the ballot initiative that would require a person convicted of certain crimes like murder and sexual assault to spend at least 85% of their sentence in prison instead of the current 75%. Analysts at the state capitol estimate that the increase in prison time would cost taxpayers up to $28 million per year. A judge has paused a program meant to protect families with mixed immigration status, some here legally, some not. It would have impacted more than 500,000 people eligible, most have been in the U.S. for more than 23 years. Our Angeline McCall looks at what happens next.
After the initial excitement over the program, now comes uncertainty.
And it's really a shame. The spouses of U.S. citizens, really need this program. This really does affect American citizens and their families.
Arturo Jimenez raced to get his clients applied for President Biden's Keeping Families Together program, hoping to beat what he saw as an expected obstacle.
No surprise, a judge in Texas, a U.S. federal district judge, placed an injunction at the behest of the state of Texas and 15 other states who've sued the Biden administration to stop the program, saying that it's an illegal action.
It means for now, the program is paused. No applications will be processed.
It's important for the public to know that they can still apply for the program, and their application and their payments will be received online.
The tactic is similar to what we saw when DACA was implemented and still going through the courts today.
So it could be into next year. Hopefully we see something this year. And I think the president's care and detail in implementing this program will hopefully allow it to be re-implemented and resumed, I should say, by the end of this year.
So once again, waiting. But this time, Jimenez knows things may not play out as expected, depending on the election outcome.
This really does affect American citizens and their families. And so it's something that we're all watching.
Jimenez says that people are still encouraged to apply, but if there are changes to the program or if it's totally removed, people risk losing those funds, including the roughly $600 application fees, as well as any legal fees if they have assistance in completing the application. So that's one of the risks that they would take on. Kyle.
You know, Angela, your years of coverage around issues of immigration and migration have really kind of informed me the toll that uncertainty takes on people, right? And it's the folks who are most newly arrived to the country, but also people who have been here decades, and the uncertainty that policy sliding back and forth has on their lives.
Yeah, certainly. I think it's like a roller coaster, right? And I've even talked to people who are DACA recipients who say they just have to take like a step back and do what's best for them, right? Because just seeing the different media coverage or seeing the different waves of different times when these programs are going through the court system, it does take just such a huge toll on their, mental health.
Angela McCall, thank you. The people in charge down at the state capitol balance the budget by using county tax money. You know who doesn't like that? Counties. An answer to the age-old question, why don't Colorado schools start after Labor Day anymore?
We noticed a lot of guys begging and just asking for money on the streets in Denver, and every time they were Venezuelan.
So a baker has decided to teach those new migrants the tools of the trade so they can put food on the table. The counties in Colorado that rely on oil and gas are threatening to sue the state after legislators voted to take tax dollars from local governments and put it into the state budget instead. Colorado collects a tax on oil and gas operations, a severance tax. Each year, that money goes into a fund that benefits state and local government. This year, state legislators passed a bill taking $25 million out of the local fund to balance the state budget. Mesa County commissioners say they rely heavily on that funding each year, and they've already lost too much funding due to a decrease in oil and gas operations. So late last week, they decided to move forward with a lawsuit asking a judge to stop the transfer, keep the state from taking additional money out in the future. Mesa County says at least 7 other counties are either in or interested.
Denver's wrapping up its second hottest summer on record, and we're not in the clear yet. With hot, dry weather still in the forecast, our next question comes from Holly, who wants to know why Colorado schools haven't pushed back their start dates until after Labor Day to coincide with cooler weather.
Great question, Holly. We get it every year. So under state and federal law, most students must be in class 160 days a year. So if schools start in September, they're likely in through June. Districts can start whenever they want. Many have opted for an earlier start date so that they can end the first semester in December instead of having kids come back for tests right away in January after the long holiday break. Districts like Denver Public Schools, where some older schools still don't have air conditioning, they also have the potential for extremely hot days in June if they were to start later. Meteorologist Kathy Sabin, it's the thing that we talk about every year. Obviously, as our summer is warm, and this was a warm one, then it's on full display.
That's right, and we may not be done with the 90-degree days. Even though we're seeing a nice break over the next couple of days, 90-degree days are possible next week, and that would be really unusual for this point in the month of September. Sunshine today, 93, the record 97, not quite there, thankfully. Not as much wind, so no red flag warnings posted today, but fire danger high. It's warm, it's dry, we haven't had a lot of rain. Still 90 this 6 o'clock hour here in Denver with 70s and 80s in the mountains. Average highs 84. We started at 61. This should be the last day in the 90s for at least a few days. We're going to get a nice break. The winds will be shifting in advance of a cool front that we're expecting tomorrow morning. And that front will bring in not only cooler weather Wednesday and Thursday, but the chance of some beneficial showers to the state and maybe a light dusting of snow way up high across some of the 14ers. So there's definitely some cool air coming in with this approaching system, and we definitely need the moisture at this point. We are seeing a little bit on the radar, some gentle showers, a little thunder and lightning around Craig and Vail. They're not moving across the urban corridor, so little chance of rain in Denver tonight. But this time tomorrow night, I think we're going to have scattered showers and some strong thunderstorms, especially as they move over Denver between 2 and about 5, and then out onto the eastern plains between 3 and 6, where some small hail and damaging wind could certainly be likely. Storm Prediction Center has this area in a level 1 out of 5 for the risk of storms that will bring more than rain. And so in the next next 12 hours, a dinner on the patio, walk the baby, walk the dog. It looks great out there as temperatures cool into the comfortable 70s after sunset. And your extended forecast includes a cooler day tomorrow, 10 degrees cooler at 83 with scattered showers and storms, 70s, kind of an early preview of fall on Thursday, and then back to sunshine and mid-80s as we move into Friday and the weekend. It's next Tuesday and Wednesday, keeping an eye on the potential for more heat.
It's amazing. It's really fulfilling to see what these guys have achieved.
He knows firsthand how hard it is to make a new life in America, so a baker is showing others the way. That's next. Every time I hear the first chords of that, I always think it's Desperado. It's not, and I'm always disappointed. Baking is about giving to others, giving sustenance, giving joy, giving care. A baker who came to Denver from Venezuela is giving all of those things to other men, also looking for an opportunity here.
Have you been in before?
No, I haven't actually.
It was on me, you're totally missing out. So
a good baker doesn't bake for themselves.
And I have a chocolate almond if you're a chocolate person.
They bake to share a little bit of joy. Ishmael de Souza has been running Reunion Bakery in Denver for 6 years. He's proud of where he comes from.
I'm Venezuelan, but it is where I grew up in.
As more Venezuelans arrived in Colorado, Ishmael saw a new need.
A lot of guys begging and just asking for money on the streets. And every time they were Venezuelans, I never thought this was going to be something that will happen in now my hometown.
He donated food and raised money for migrants, but wanted to do more.
Josper, somehow this guy is, I don't know, he has some sort of magic.
Josper made a 5-year trek from Venezuela.
Y se hace muy complicado, primero porque no sabes el idioma. Segundo, no sabes qué hacer porque legalmente no tienes la autorización de trabajar.
We really need to get those nurture, Alex.
Ishmael teamed up with a nonprofit to provide a few Venezuelan migrants like Josper
Esta que está aquí.
space in his kitchen for hands-on training, learning English, and getting paid through donations.
Mi mamá era chef en un restaurante en Venezuela y ella desde pequeña nos enseñó muchas cosas, pero ya en sí empecé a cocinar fuera aquí en Colorado.
The good baker, using his kitchen to raise up the people around him.
It's really fulfilling to see what these guys have achieved.
Siento la integración de la comunidad.
For next, I'm Mike Grady.
¿Sí pusiste un timer allí?
Sí, ya, una hora.
Una hora. Bello.
Ismael asked each of the Venezuelans in that program to create a menu item that reminds them of home. That'll be on at the bakery soon. Maryland has your feedback for me, which means that I have your feedback for you. It's a feedback loop, you could say, and it's next. Tim writes, regarding the apartments in Aurora supposedly overrun by gangs, what does code enforcement have to say about the condition of those structures? So Tim, Aurora was so upset about the squalid conditions at one of the apartment complexes, all owned by the same out-of-state landlord, that they went through like a year or years-long process to get that building closed down. The city said the landlord blamed it on the gangs. Landlord said it wasn't their fault, that it was the gangs. This story has been where nuance has gone to die, right? Two things can be true at once, right? That the gangs are present in the community and that the living conditions are unacceptable. Adam on Twitter says, stupid blanking clown, stop ruining this state, you piece of blank. Adam, you got to check out a Twitter, man. It's a rage factory.